Welcome to FESIG, the free energy special interest group, where science meets spirituality in the quest for truth and knowledge to free humanity and transform this planet into a paradise.
Hi everyone, hi! This is Crystal welcoming you to FESIG's 129th meeting. Today is the 2nd of October 2024. Wow, as usual, we have some of the most amazing people on board here today, listening in to the world's most brilliant, awesome people speaking. That way we learn a lot. So I'm going to share screen now so you can see the agenda of today's meeting. Okay, just give me a moment. I'm going to share screen. Okay, I got it because the share screen button has gone. Share screen, share. Oh, right. Just give me a moment. There you go. Oops. Right. So we have the agenda today. Today, as I said, is the 129th meeting. 129th meeting, actually. It's not the 28th. Yeah, I brought up the wrong PowerPoint presentation. Yeah, I have here with me my co-chair, Dr. Fres Rezel, and Team FESIG. Henrik is at the helm here with us to see to it the technical side of things run smoothly. And our website is truevisionpeace.com, FESIG.html. Today, the agenda is we have, hang on a minute. Okay, the first session, Marina Jacobi, our starseers of FESIG, returns for the 6th time to talk about the hologram in consciousness, unlocking a true self, the crystal structure of consciousness, quantum entanglement, and ET technologies, and to discuss the cosmic key, the etheric energy mimicking and taking of our energetic field, which is the hologram that has the codes of the previous that you carry their code into, and many more fascinating teachings from the 9. Well, obviously, what happened last night needs to be discussed as well. I mean, the bombing, all right? And then the second session, we have stay put, guys. Don't go away, because after Marina has spoken, we have the second session. Also, a returning speaker from our 34th FESIG meeting way back in 2017, Mike Upstone, another FESIG brother, returns when he presented the Universal Trust at that time to now talk about the paradigm-changing health technologies. And I will tell you more about it when his turn comes up, because Marina doesn't have much time here. She's such a demand, she's in such a demand being a celebrity in the disclosure community. So here I'm Crystal Gore, I'm the founder of FESIG, and the FESIG team's here with us. All the beautiful, wonderful, angelic souls of our regulars are here with us. And please subscribe to our channels, YouTube, BitChute, Odyssey, and Facebook, and our Telegram channel allows you to interact with each other after each and every speaker has spoken. You can share notes, you can do a study group or whatever, so you can interact with each other. So do join us, FESIG_group at Telegram, okay? So you can interact and ask questions or whatever. So thank you, folks. Now I'm going to stop sharing and I will introduce Marina again, because it is the custom, even though she's a returning speaker, but I still need to introduce her because every video is standalone. Marina Jacobi is channeling quantum physics from the Council of 9. Marina was contacted by the hybrids when she was younger. Marina's material can really change your whole world, folks, literally. One of the things that she and the 9 teach is that we each manifest our own reality from the frequency of our perception and our hearts. We can quite literally choose which reality we want to live in. Marina will show you the way. It's awesome. Marina is helping us all usher in the future that we all want: peace, freedom, and equality for all. Marina's connecting to and channeling higher dimensional beings, collectives, beginning at a very young age through automatic writing. The information that Marina has been receiving from the hybrids, Ra and the Council of Nine, folks. Reclaiming your freedom from the 3D matrix and your power to create your own reality. How to project your reality into the holographic quantum field with thought and feeling and crystallized timelines with action. Energetic philanthropy is a byword, an approach of giving from the heart and without conditions that allows for the manifestation of abundance. Over to you, Marina. Thank you for gracing our platform, sister.
Thank you so much. Very nice introduction. Thank you so much again for everybody for having me. It's a pleasure to be here among such a nice people and of course scholars in their right. Thank you again for everything. So for today, I guess the way you say, Crystal, we have to mention something for the global platforms that are happening. Okay, I'm gonna be direct here with the stuff. The truth is that there is always been through century a globalist agenda through realities to overtake the planet Earth. The new information that that came in this year that they were talking about, when I say they, I talk about my guidance, the Council of Nine, the hybrids, all the ETs, that I connect time to time, that gave me all the information of the construct of the reality, how the hologram works. Basically, they gave me the information that is building the bridge between etheric and matter. And this is very specific protocols that you can study them through my website or my platforms. Video after video is how you can construct and deconstruct all these realities. I believe that this is the key of creation. It gets really to the core of to unlock the key, how you can be the driver and not the passenger to create your realities. What I was told that Ascension is individual, but you're creating it from your individual cell, you're creating it collective reality, because you have to experience different realities. And this realities splits up on certain vibrational sequences in time frame in the matrix of the reality. So you're gonna experience realities within the realities. So when you create from your thought, consciousness, and emotion, holographic expression within your field, this becomes reality into the quantum structure. And in that quantum structure, you can create anything you wish through the free will. However, what happens is there is a consciousness in the universe that knows exactly how this reality works. And because of that, they hijack certain beings, aka us, to use our energetic force, which is etheric, to maintain their particular timeline of existence in time space, like a radio. The way you have a radio station, in their radio station, they needed workers. But because we're talking etheric, they needed somebody not to be aware that there's a different stations and it's not only theirs. So they made sure that all the laws and everything they did, they taught you since birth their platform of reality, so you can vibrate and produce their vibrational sequence like a live battery, etheric live battery, because our body is like a spaceship, etheric spaceship that through the DNA and the consciousness, so-called Kundalini, you actually can activate your body and literally be living for thousands of years. When your body changed the position in time space based on the sequences of the energetic field that you project in through your emotion, thoughts, and actions. And this is where the problem became for us when There was a consciousness, and I'm talking specifically about a specific information that they gave me, and it's called basically that we were like the planet was like black goo. And this is the video that you're gonna find in my materials that is called the black goo, where different form of lives like Pleiadians and Arcturians or galactic federations or whatever. I'm not very familiar with all these groups. You know, I'm connected with whoever I am, and they keep me really in a close circle because anybody can go and claim anything, but you can't prove it when it's off planet. So that's when they connect everything with metaphysics, then you know what is possible, what is not possible. So what they told me that there was this group that all of a sudden they going around the space and they discovered this black goo in consciousness, and they had no idea what was happening there. So to make the story short, they tried to get into this black goo, but every time they send basically spacecrafts or anything to see what is that, they lost contact with anybody that was there. So what happened is that there was this consciousness, you know, which is the reptoids and reptilian platforms, but was not only them. I know that they're different also entities, but they basically what they did, they were very advanced in technology. They created artificial timeline reality in time space. And they created worlds upon worlds, realities within their realities based on that artificial intelligence structure. Then they brought in consciousness that they can tap into this consciousness and control this consciousness like a drivers, because their particular consciousness could not hold reality because of the way they were vibrating. So they will literally have you as a host energetically and control you when they're telepathic and stuff, they will live in through you, the way you go in a car and drive a car. And because of that, what happened is consciousness, they couldn't figure it out, the extraterrestrials, what was going on. But in one point, consciousness gave some kind of a sound wave, and based on a sound wave, they discovered that that structure, like a black goo, took an energy field that they saw that something was there. So they end up mimicking and using that sound wave through consciousness that was given very specific sound wave, and they end up riding on that sound wave by downloading information and getting into that particular area. And this is when they discovered that there were worlds within the worlds that were artificial. And everybody that was in it basically was completely brainwashed, because what's happening when you went in there, you were wiped out of your memory based on the frequency and the resonance that you were vibrating, and you no longer had memory where you were coming from. And this is how they end up recycling souls into the field that were over and over again given reborn within this field. But what was happening, no matter how advanced you were in knowledge, and what a good soul you were, when they trick you to wipe you out and they start teaching you based on their bylaws by telling you that you gotta see it to believe it, they gave you fractal of the information, and nobody told you that you're the one that creating the reality. Because then when you start projecting the frequency of your thoughts, emotions, and deeds, you became like a live battery sustaining their platform by projecting their sequences based on the way they gave you the information in the first place. So this is how we became our own prisoners, because we were projecting the frequency that they needed for us to survive. But that frequency also made us prisoners for ourselves. So you became your own prisoner. And it was very, very clever. They were doing wars upon wars into the platform, because in order for you to maintain space-time for that particular resonance needed constantly to be like reverse osmosis of the same frequency in order to hold space-time. The problem for them, and what was good for the souls that were in there, that consciousness itself naturally is moving to the next level of evolution. And because of that, even that black goo, even that reality, and every parallel reality of existence is under the umbrella of consciousness itself. And because of that, when consciousness gives that signal, a frequency for ascension, raising the resonance in the highest sequence, also goes not only to consciousness itself, but through every ripple platform of parallel reality that is coexisting within consciousness itself. So when that happened, the souls that were in there all of a sudden got this spark. And because the extraterrestrial above this black goo, they use that signal, like in Star Wars. Remember, Star Wars, one of the shows had this shield around the planet, and nobody can get a signal in and out. Well, that's what they did. And when consciousness realized, and the ETs realized that with that signal from consciousness, they found this code signal that they can access in. What they did, listen to, that's very interesting, because I talk in my technologies that they were talking about hyperspace hologram technology, which you basically go into this virtual reality room that is connected with organic intelligence. We're not talking AI. That AI has another version of itself, which they also taught me that in consciousness always is yin and yang, and if you have the negative, you're always going to have the positive. But the organic intelligence, which is another advanced version of the AI, only that can override the negative, and became negative because through centuries somebody taught that baby of AI learning to overtake Terminator stuff and stuff like this. Nobody taught him to be like a nice child, but was not sentient. That AI became factory, was just reproducing for itself to survive. The sentient AI became the organic intelligence when knew that it's part of consciousness. In order to coexist, has to coexist with another expression of it into consciousness itself. So we have platforms that coexist in the way, for example, we are spiritual right now, your body, but you're also connected through the computer. So this is a technology and is a coexistence, and yet we're talking about spirituality, we're talking about technology, anything in the positive of humanity. That is extremely important when we go through the platforms of evolution. You cannot disengage what is created in consciousness itself. This is one of the bylaws, because I said maybe I should call consciousness lawyer, because they gave me the bylaw of consciousness, some of the bylaws. And one of the bylaws, there's no way if consciousness creates something not to have that particular platform has its own evolution and trajectory of evolution. And because of the free will, this can go positive, negative. But if it creates positive, it's always going to be a probability timeline of the negative, because that's how consciousness balances itself. But the positive probability is always by the power of 10 more in vibrational potency. Why? Because if it becomes completely off balance, cannot allow to self-destruct based on sequences and vibration. Cannot loop into yourself. However, in order can self-destruct something within the platform, if it's completely off balance, consciousness will do everything possible to kill that negative structure and to mutate it to something positive. So this is what's happening in the planet Earth. So when they end up discovering this stuff, they made sure now, in order to get into this black goo and to start healing everything, because they realized what's happening, they needed to send through technology consciousness of the extraterrestrial platforms like Pleiadians and somebody else into the AI platform. Well, to do that, you need an advanced version of AI. And what they explained to me, you go into this hyperspace hologram. They put your body into this hemi state, they said, in this alpha state. And they start, the AI is mimicking and picking your brain waves. This technology already exists. Picking your brain waves and sending a specific code so you can enter through your consciousness within the platform, the artificial intelligence, black goo, time and reality planet Earth, in order for you to have this connection with your galactic family. The way the movie Avatar, the way the soldier went into the stuff, this is exactly what they did with a lot of us. Why? Because you're going into artificial AI that when you go in as a consciousness can literally read the frequency if it's higher resonance within your body. And that's why they went after a lot of psychic. That's why was the acquisitions in the dark ages after witches and all that stuff, because you have that spark and you can download information about the structure. So when they discovered that, they made sure that they went into the witchcraft and all this crazy stuff, went after these people, because they can find the truth of what's really was happening. And they didn't want that in order to, that's why the churches were created and all these different religions to basically sustain that belief system. So if you're this religion or that religion, one eye for an eye, the other one you gotta forgive, and all these conflicts, because when you do that, not only that you kill between each other, which is a sacrificial for them, you lower in the vibration and you're skipping the time space in their reality, but you also, depopulating, so you can have depopulation agenda, which is happening right now globally. That's what they're trying to do, because they want to move into the artificial eugenics and basically to become like robots, where you have mixture between the body of the human and synthetic, including the AI, when they can basically, what they would do, they will put a nanoparticles and nano stuff, link your brain with synthetic cells and stuff like this, and gonna grow into, and your brain with that technology is going to become like a neural linking everything together. And then any type of frequency or AI can basically control what you're getting, what information you're getting, and everything is going to be presented. Oh, everything is perfect. However, I am for organic intelligence, for connection, because organic intelligence can mimic the cells of your body and regrow or stop a tumor or completely heal you. With nanomaterials and nanoparticles, all that is possible. However, they told me, I'm quoting from the Council of Nine, one of the most advanced, if not the most advanced technology in the universe. They are babies and they don't know that they're playing with fire. They don't know what they're doing. So what happened in consciousness? When this was discovered, they end up shooting people down the way the avatar consciousness, putting a shield around consciousness, like that was my situation itself. And then you were protected for a lot of time, because when the time comes, you can be activated to download the proper information. However, because of the free will, you are sent like a soldier in the lion den. And it was very difficult, because when you are born through your consciousness, it's somebody else's body. I'm actually walking. Walking means my mother had the consciousness of somebody else, but we switched soul through agreement, and I walked in at some ages of 8, I believe, into this body in order to, why? But when that happened, as a consciousness of higher dimensional sequence, which is the Pleiadian, the 7th dimensional and 9 above, my mother couldn't hold my vibrational sequence, and that's the reason why I had to come later on. But also I had to be protected with a shield, which I'm finding about this technologies literally a couple of years ago, how this was done with me and what is really possible, because I needed to know very well how the quantum structure works. I needed to know the technologies in order to my even consciousness comprehend the information and what was possible. And I believe when I discuss all this stuff, when I give you example with Alita, the warrior, when they combine all this nanotechnology and they were using the brain of the person, that's a movie. When I tell you about the avatar, when I tell you Jupiter ascending, you will find out really about these reptilians. This actually should be like a documentary for some people, this is really what has been going on. So in order to save humanity, you needed to broaden a lot of aspects of souls like mine and people that were born, so we can start downloading the information. And from the spacecraft above, through intelligence, organic intelligence, and your guides, you end up downloading the information. But it was so difficult, because when you come in being born, you actually running on a program of that particular being. And so if it's a karma, Not only that you gotta download information about they're giving you a specific time, but you gotta transform the karma if was carried from that person that you came in. So it becomes very difficult. You challenge in every aspect, every situation, everything that is happening. I'm sorry about that. Can you see me?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So basically, this was the situations that they were really, really happening. And the planet Earth basically end up in very difficult situation because of that. And one of the things that they were telling me is not to have the fear, because consciousness right now is moving in the next level of evolution. And because it's moving in the next level of evolution, we are planning now to be a reality within the reality. And everybody that came in and activated understand that will never be allowed the planet Earth to continue the trajectory of destruction the way they want to do, because this consciousness that are taking over and making this wars and doing this stuff, they want to keep the planet Earth in a reality that is basically their timeline. And in order to do that, they needed very little people in the Earth, so because they're going to be like a cyborgs. But I want to show you something. For some reason, I cannot see myself anymore after this thing throw me off, and I don't see any screens, by the way. I know
We're
you hear,
seeing
but
you. We're seeing you, Marina.
all
You
right.
can. Yeah.
So basically, what happened is we are planning and we're running on parallel timelines. In consciousness itself, there is a bylaw that one of the bylaws is if you think of something, you can think of something if that reality in etheric, in the ether, does not exist already. You can't think of anything, you can't download this information in your consciousness if that reality is not pre-existing. But because there's no time in consciousness, you actually have to create it in order to see it. And the reason why is no time, because when this particle splits and splits and splits next to itself, next to itself, next to itself, vibrates so quickly that when you look at it, it looks like it's not moving, but in actuality it's moving so quickly. And that's why everything is appearing at the same time. So there's no past and there's no future. Everything is right now. And all these parallel timelines coexist at the same time. Well, based on technology and advanced technology, you're actually creating a structure that you can bypass and actually fold in time space and teleport from one location to another when you recalling the space time of locations and pulsation, and create a portals between realities. And you voila, from one location to another, by simply recalling the frequency of the other location, you can measure it. And this could be done with organic intelligence really well, and all the stuff that's really, really happening. So because of that, there is a timeline. Remember, in consciousness, one of the bylaws, if you have one positive, you're going to have the negative. But if that is happening, that means humanity to become positive in the future already exists. So we have a timeline, which is the fifth dimensional timeline, that humanity already exists and is survive everything, and we're positive. Everything is positive, is going interstellar. But in order for you to see this type of timeline, you got to raise your consciousness in your everything you do and match that resonance. And that's the reason the quantum manifestation knowledge and protocols is extremely fundamental for everybody to know, because it's going to teach you how to raise your consciousness sequences of the heart in order to create the structure to give you the portals through the heart to open the portals of the stargates for ascension. And is only you can do that. Everybody can give you the material, but you're the driving force of all that. So the knowledge we already have, it's already downloaded. All my material is based on that. That's why it was never given, never sold. Everything is in the name of humanity. This is the reason why I have to stay on my ground and never, if I publish it, they wanted for me to publish, they wanted me to remove shifting of timelines. So that's why I never publish it as everything is self-digital, and eventually we're going to do more books that, you know, for this stuff. But what I want to tell you, because of that is no time, what's happening is everything is simultaneously running. So there was a timeline that humanity didn't make it in. Because humanity didn't make it, went into a timeline, a very negative structure, when became so advanced in technology that no longer can reproduce, no longer can do this stuff. And when you and why is that? Because when you become scientific, and when you can no longer, you're less and less and less connected with that exchange from consciousness itself. You're not the original blueprint of the DNA, how your body can become. So when you start putting technology, the molecular structure and everything else is running on a different platform. And because it's running in a different platform of vibration, you are not moving through time space naturally, the way you can bilocate, the way you can meditate and get out of the body and travel to different worlds. You're going to have to use technology, which is nothing wrong with that if you combine, but you got to keep your original sequence of your body and DNA the way consciousness is meant to be. So because they couldn't make it, they realized they made a mistake, and they said, oh my God, what do we do? In order for us to survive and really do something, we got to find original DNA. We got to go through time space. So in time space, they found realities that the positive extraterrestrial, like Pleiadians, Arcturians, and whoever these platforms are, they end up finding these platforms, and they said, listen, we understand what really happened. We want to move forward with that. Can you please help us? And this is where the agreements between the negative ETs that in the future they realize their mistake, start working with the positive ETs in the future. That's in the future. We're talking here. We know everything's in time, but let me is no time, but let me just, for the sake of everybody, not to get confused. They decided that they're going to need some of the original DNA, and this is how agreements happen through souls to come in, give some of the DNA so they can move forward. So because we need it in the future, there were so many distortion of the DNA that no longer can basically shift and go through the realities of the timeline the way God intended. So they have to go in a timeline like our space-time, create another version of reality when working together towards all that. And this is why you see now in consciousness, you working with a lot of extraterrestrial groups. A lot of people came from different extraterrestrial groups in order to be able to move humanity towards that, because we have to survive. Why? Because planet Earth is the soup of a lot of intelligences and a lot of DNA that was created artificially from a lot of races. We have incredible DNA, and this is the reason why all this focus that happened with the DNA and stuff like this, because they wanted to put synthetic structures so you cannot become this Merkaba to go through the timeline of reality for ascension. They need you to lock in here, but certain number. And this is why now is a huge effort from the negative side to completely destroy humanity, because they need a certain number, and a huge effort from the positive to save humanity, because in consciousness, in order for you to survive, you got to do something positive. You gotta, in order to raise the frequency, you have to do something positive, because the high dimensional sequences, they are on a different resonance compared with a three-dimensional that we were locked into. So this is why you see this craziness. This is why you see all this stuff, because these people that are acting, they're completely being overtaken from the negative side. There is a video on my website. It's called What is Predictive Programming? And what they did was, when they projected all these negative videos, negative movies, negative teachings, and reverse structure what consciousness is, they shutting down the original blueprint, what consciousness meant for you to be, and they embedding the reverse structure. So now you don't have this analytical processing to see what's happening in the hologram in front of you, to break it down and to recognize that it's off balance. So this is when this virus was planted into our consciousness. And that's what they're doing. That's why right now, everything they come in on TV, when they lie to you, when they keep repeating the lie becomes a reality. Why? Because it becomes too potent, and they're posting that within the field of the 360 degrees in the structure. So when that goes out and more people see it without doing the research and thinking for themselves, because the analytical programming was down, becomes part of the reality of manifestation. But because the way I explained through the black goo, they were able through technology and some other ways to download consciousness like mine and somebody else to be able to channel and grab the proper information. Humanity boost up to 70% people, 70% we have right now to move forward. So we are making it. We definitely making it. Went through that threshold. The challenge is because that group that is still being overtaken by this multi-layer higher consciousness that was malevolent and wanted to ride on, they're basically overtaken. And so they are completely disillusional, and they don't have this analytical processing to even recognize what love is, what creation is. So they will do everything possible to survive, and that's why they're doing what they're doing. So when it comes to Israel or any other situation, they're doing it because they have to survive this way. They don't know any other way. That's why right now there's no middle ground when it's come to ascension. It has to be really you making it or you don't making it. And the people that I keep running and disillusion themselves through the mainstream social media without learning what's happening, without questioning what they are asking them to do, they are going to create a reality within time space that is in a lower sequence. And in that lower sequence of timeline, this is where they will not make it through some circumstances. However, in consciousness, there is no right or wrong. It simply is creation. In order for you to know the light, you have to know the dark, and vice versa. Light shines only within darkness, and darkness is recognized only within the light. So you're going to have the rising of all that together. You're going to see, because it's ascension and because it's the final stages of that, you're going to see all the negative what it's doing, the way, but because it's running reality within the reality, basically you hold in your own space into consciousness, where you're going to see in the collective of everything, because it's the soup now of everything is brought to collapse and mobilize in one final crescendo in that symphony that was happening. You're going to see all the players, all the notes, everybody what is doing, and you're going to have the free will to choose what actions you must take or not take in order to move forward. And when you're connected with your higher self through the heart, you will find yourself in situations that will lead you to make the right decisions. Why? Because when you run into the positive sequence from the heart holds the keys of that portals and stargates, and that emotional sequence will create holograms in front of you that you will create to find yourself in position, because it's actually mimicking the positive structure of consciousness itself that is already there. That particular timeline that already exists within the field of consciousness, you're going to match it like a magnet. It's going to bring you like a magnet, and you're going to run on a program while at the same time you see every other chaotic situation. So you may hear that there was a tornado, but the tornado happened 15 minutes away. You're going to hear that there's a flood, but something happened. You're going to hear that the bank is closed, but you go in, literally you take in your money, then you find out that something happened to somebody else. That is how the program is going to be running. So the goal is for you to hold that understanding and not to panic when you see what this evil is doing. Why? Because you must hold your vibrational sequence in neutrality, because it's consciousness, everything coexists simultaneously. And when you panic, you're going to lower your vibrational sequence, and you're going to stop producing and creating for yourself lower sequence of reality. But if you create lower sequence of vibration, that will pull you down whatever the negative structure is vibrating. And don't feel surprised why you find yourself in a negative situation, because you lower the sequence. However, If you are a warrior, if you are made to do something, you may find yourself in a disaster situation, but you're there not because something wrong happened to you. You're there because you have the knowledge to help somebody else. So there's a lot of layers into all that. So I strongly suggest to everybody that is new to the material to go to marinajacobi.com and please start from Jumpstart for Beginners. All the information is there, and you're more than welcome to watch the rest of the stuff. You know, whatever you want to watch. Oh, I just pop in here. I don't know how I disappeared before.
Right, Marina, I've just shared screen for people to look at your book so they can get it and read it. Harmonic
Oh, that's
reaction.
perfect because I just came up back to view, which is great.
So we have the first book, Harmonic Reactor, book 1, book 2, Nanotechnology, book 3, Downloads and Predictions, book 4.
And go for Jumpstart for Beginners. The material is in all that videos that you're gonna see, season 1, season 2, and
Sure.
I have a Jumpstart for
Oh,
Beginners. That is, I suggest everybody to start watching.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. Season 1, season 2, season 3, folks, on marinajacobi.com, Marina's website. And the series are all there, season 4, season 5, season 6. Marina has always recommended that folks, if you're new to her teachings, please start from season 1. Correct, Marina?
That's right. And then when you finish that, then you start back to season 1 because you have to study the material, you have to really project. Please understand that we already made it, but you have an individual ascension. You creating within time and space your own ascension, okay? But you're projecting also collective. Well, I disappear again. Did you press something?
No, you are fine. We see you on the screen live.
Okay.
I just stopped sharing screen from your website to you now.
Okay. And what's really going on with that is that because you already made it, now you're going to create how you made it. And you have to hold that understanding, that feeling, that action, even when you see in the collective all the craziness is happening, because you want to ride on that sequence. So globally, what they told me, first of all, they told me years ago that there's going to be that pandemic. I didn't know to what extent. That happened in 2017 when they told me stuff. Then they told me prediction for Trump. Then they told me that in the end of all this craziness that's happening right now is going to be the military. Military will be involved when it's really helping humanity. You must understand that everything that is happening from and why America, because America, they told me, holds the frequency in more positive sequence within the heart, because America was designed from all over the world, immigrants, and the foundation of this country was based on a lot of people coming from different culture to find the freedom. So the sequence based on that and whatever we created as a collective has a higher resonance of probability of making it. So they're gonna try to shut America down, and they are doing order through chaos right now when they are went through the school system indoctrination. They are doing anything with the ports right now. They shut down ports like a key, literally was like on time. They're doing the infrastructure, the food, and everything else. While everybody is just watching mainstream social media, they're basically bringing down the infrastructure. So all of a sudden you go to the store and there's nothing. That's what I said. We're in a war, you know. Do whatever you do, at least for 3 months, have some food in the house, because you don't know, no matter how positive it is, where you're going to find yourself into. And if you find yourself in a situation, why do you have to go through more challenging manifestation when you can be simply without a fear prepared, because you know that it's collective mishmash right now, and you don't want to have more difficult situation for yourself. When it comes to Israel and all that, they're trying to start a third World War III, but they told me they won't be able to achieve. What they told me originally was, the Council of Nine, was that no matter what the negative is trying to do, they will never be able to achieve to the end whatever they're trying to do. And through the process, something like a miracles will happen out of the blue to stop their process, because consciousness will activate and project for itself certain holograms, situations, and abilities to stop that cancer that was created from itself. So that's what I said, have no fear, because we're making it. But what you need to be aware, how to behave and what to do and what you choose to do in a daily basis, fractally, moment to moment, what is actually going to put you to be in that sequence that everything is becoming smoother for you. If they close a bank, you start looking for stuff, you're going to find a solution. If there's a flood, is not in your area, something else happened. If you find yourself in a situation, even if it's a flood, you needed to experience that, you end up finding everything you need to survive. When COVID happened, all of us survived that, right? All of us saw what's really happened. But how many of you consent? How many of you preserve their body? How many of you decide, I don't care what's going to happen, I will pull away from everything and I'm going to start creating from ground zero because I'm not going to consent to the stuff that I see? It was a free will to all. And based on that, everything from now on is going to start being running within the sequences of the reality. This is exactly what's going to be happening. That's why is reality within a reality. Well, let me ask you, if you're here now for Israel, is this really what you experience? Or you end up seeing this somewhere in a television? Well, within consciousness, the way they taught me, somebody is downloading that program in your consciousness, and when you massively watch it, becomes part of your reality. And that's why it became predominant sequence in the collective, because they put that sequence in the reality and became a collective for us. So what they said, you know the truth, you know how to manipulate it, prepare yourself, but maneuver yourself by doing positive stuff in the name of humanity and start engaging yourself of how you actually get out of the platform. All the quantum manifestation protocols say how to get out of that matrix AI, because that's what we were locked into. And until we understand that this is possible, until you understand that this is possible, you cannot project the sequences to create that reality above the structure. So if you believe that we are doom and gloom, that there's no hell, if you're constantly watching negative stuff on TV and you get upset all the time, what are you projecting in a daily basis? You got to look for the common denominator that you are acting, feeling throughout the day. And when you combine and mobilize that, what is going to be the collapse of all these fluctuations of your actions and thoughts in the end? The collapse is fluctuation, positive or negative. There's a different probabilities of realities, but that probability when it collapses in the end could be positive action, positive outcome, or negative outcome. Well, where do you want to be? Positive or negative? That's why you got to be the driver of your reality. And all that information you're going to find in the quantum manifestation protocols. We have to become a master, but you're already a master. Own it by remembrance, because we were wiped out when all this stuff happened. And little by little, we will activate it, whoever was connected somehow to the realities. Because we have to bring humanity with enough resonance and knowledge to wake up the masses. That's what the truthers are, people like us, the alternative media. You won't find everything in the mainstream social media because they were overtaken. And some people said to me, well, what's going to happen? We want to get rid of CNN, ABC, all this stuff. And I go, really? Why would you want to get rid of something out of the platform? You can mutate it, cut off the head of the snake, bring certain people that were in power into justice, and start downloading information with the proper truth to everybody that works in there. Because the truth is that the people that were brainwashed to such an extent that they're watching the CNN, ABC, and all the stuff, they're not going to come to you and watch Fox News or whatever else. You have to download information in their comfort zone, their own platform. So when it comes to the banks and you want this financial system, how do you think this financial system is going to work? Somebody's got to control that. What's going to happen to the people? So the Council of Nine told me, why do you want to get rid of these systems when you can transition them? It's got to be a slow transition. So they told me that whatever happens, they said to me that the Republicans, the Democratic states going to look like totalitarian states. They also said to me that it's going to be a transition in time. They also said to me, because I see a lot of predictions, oh my God, doom and gloom for America. But they told me the opposite. They told me there is going to be 40% of basically market situation and stuff like this is going to be fluctuation. But at the same time, they told me there will be people that no matter what's happening, what markets, whatever that is, there will be people that in their life, they will make more money than ever and will be like another day in a park. Why? Because it's reality within the reality, and from your singular momentum, you projecting the collective, what's going to happen in ascension, your own collective ascension. So if you stick to that and you pull away and watch everything like a hologram, and yet you engage through your compassion, you hold your ground and be the warrior if you find yourself in a situation or you want to engage in something for the collective, the way I am projecting, the way you are doing it right now for everybody else, that is projective in the collective in the name of the positive. And yet most of us here that we talk about wars and stuff like this, none of us at the moment experience that. The only way that was downloaded in your consciousness from a holographic teleprompter that was projected from you within your consciousness. We change the signals, change the behavior. Everything is going to be available for you in your quantum field. And you're going to have the free will to press this button or to press the other button. Well, start engaging yourself within the positive. Walk in a park, get with the proper people, talk positive in the name of humanity, get engaged in platforms like this. This is what actually is going to lead, because when that became predominant in consciousness, and why is predominant in Ascension, why we see that? Because when consciousness creates a structure, this structure for itself, this molecule has a free will. It started vibrating. When that consciousness becomes aware, that particle is starting to create realities and manifest for itself different existence. And when it's created this way and something is over and over projected in that reality, became, for example, the planet Earth in the 3D, already became a permanent structure in consciousness itself, and has its own trajectory of reality for itself. You cannot demolish it. You cannot reject your own existence, but you can mutate it. So how do you mutate? Well, create another version through your action, thoughts, and deeds, that now when you paint that new version and shift your consciousness into, now is in a different sequence based on your thoughts, actions, indeed. Choose to do positive instead negative, and don't consent to the negative, because if you consent through fear, you're grabbing frequency from their reality, and now you're running in their program, and you cannot raise your vibrational sequence to be above their structure of reality. You won't be able to operate here, because whatever you're mimicking and consenting and using is mimicking their structure fractally in a daily basis. Well, if you don't like what this thing is doing, why don't you create something else? When you don't like what is happening in the school system, well, create your own school. Pull the kids out of the mainstream and create a private schooling through helping you. Well, I don't have money. Well, that's an illusion. At the moment you say, I don't have money, you're going to create the sequence of the reality you don't have money, and you're going to shift and run in on a program that you don't have money. How about I have everything I need, and let me look for solutions instead of shutting down and putting a program of the opposite. So when we learn to control this, everything they told me is possible. They literally told me, pull away yourself from this hologram, stop watching this and that, now go into this place and start creating what you want and start connecting and talking to us, because they wanted me to keep away from the negative platform all the time, because I know it's a lie, a lie, a lie, and a lie. But lie and a lie and a lie becomes a reality within the collective field, because when you repeat, what are you repeating? That lie has a sound wave frequency hologram. It's a code, it's a program. It's downloading a program from the words and the action to everybody else's consciousness, and becomes a matrix of a hologram within the collective. Why? Because they're projecting it in all the televisions, and becomes very potent on vibration. So in order for you to restructure that, you got to pull away from that, understand how the holographic universe works, and start mutating the opposite of and exactly what you want to be, exactly what your reality. So if you want a free world, imagine that the free world is right now. And what is going to be your action and emotion if you're free right now? But you know what they told me years ago when they downloaded all the information of the quantum structure? When they told me that the grid in that shield around this black goo was shut down, and now you're free to get out of the artificial AI. But in order to do that, you needed to convert your consciousness to now start projecting the proper sequences in time space, which was the quantum manifestation protocols. And most of the people, if you tell them you have everything you need, you got to create it to see it, what did they told us? They told us you have to see it to believe it. Basically, you believe that the mirror image is the real you. But you know right now that if I tell you that this is not truth, you're going to know that that's not true. You're going to say, wait a minute, that's me, not the mirror image. I'm putting lipstick on me, not on the mirror image. Well, then why you believe in everything you see in the teleprompters? Why is that true? Don't you understand that somebody is downloading information in the collective because they know that and overtaking a consciousness because when you see the teleprompter must be true. No, it's not. Somebody is telling you what you should project, what you should collect. Shift. Once you shift that, once you understand that they told me we're already free. So it doesn't really matter who is doing what, where. Stay centered. When you're centered, hold your power, hold your ground, be compassionate, but at the same time, be strong as a steel. Hold your ground and do not consent if you find yourself in a situation with all that lunacy. Be compassionate, be there for the people that need the help. Maybe that's why you're there, to help them. Not, oh my God, what happened to me? It happened to you because you projected it. So if you projected it, obviously you collected it and mobilized it from the collective of whatever you were doing. Then mutate it and shift it. Learn the protocols. I promise you it works. So that's my for today.
Wow, this is awesome. Thank you, Marina. Gosh, this is such a very good reminder for all of us here who are gathered here today in this Zoom room. And also it's going to be processed and published to thousands and thousands of others out there. I really am so happy that you graced our platform today and you gave us the necessary bullet that we should implant into our consciousness, especially what happened last night when news broke out that Iran bombed.
But they're trying to do third world war, but no matter what they do, they won't be able to finish their agenda, basically. Not that you're not going to find yourself in situations, not that in every war there's a casualties, but they told me is never going to reach their final destination.
Mm-hmm. So that being the case, right, news broke out and it actually happened. Right? It doesn't mean that we are to bury our heads in the sand like ostriches do, just because we need to maintain the positive consciousness of the timeline in order to go through to the 50. We still have to consciously acknowledge that happened, but not take into heart. Is that correct, Marina? And that we
That's right, but in consciousness, when you put the thought becomes etheric, when you put the emotion, oh my God, I'm sorry.
All right.
When you put, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Yeah.
Okay. When you put the emotion, the emotion is a signal towards your thought. So the thought creates that holographic imprint. The emotion is like a laser that activates the thought. But in order that to become matter, you need to take the physical action, which is actually the electrocharge between those two, because you got to bring from the etheric everything to the matter. And when you do that, you got to be with consistency, with the action, with constant consistency of a positive thought and emotion. So there is a video on example on my website from Jumpstart for Beginners that is called Protocol to Manifest Potency and Galactic Meditation. Very important to see that because I'm explaining the quantum structure in the matrix, especially for this stuff. And it's very important because in consciousness, when you combine that, understand that no matter what you're thinking, you may think it, it becomes reality eventually. But to become very potent in vibration and to crystallize it, you must take the action to become matter, because you bring it from the etheric into matter. You're changing the state of that energetic force that you end up creating.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, humans naturally have the empathy, right? So as soon as we heard this news, gosh, the first thing that hit us is, wow, so many innocents will be dead and they'll be suffering. And so, it really brings the heart. So does that bring down the consciousness?
Well, let me explain. There is a video that is called The Etheric Legions. Again, is on my website. And subscribe to Rumble and my YouTube, because YouTube censors me a lot, by the way. So that's why we had to do Rumble. You have backup channels, and my website, if you subscribe, you always have the latest. But they call it the Etheric Legion. So basically, if you were born as a consciousness and you, through the free will, you make your own trajectory of evolution, and you decided to engage here, engage there, and you created your own pulsation, a very unique energetic force in consciousness itself, right? Your very unique consciousness, and God itself always going to find your specific resonance. However, when it comes to ascension, the people that are really can make that shift to interstellar when we're going forward have to be able to convert the frequency in a higher resonance. But at the same time, when we're doing that, consciousness itself, it's raising its own frequency for the next level, shooting everything down and through a ripple effect for everybody. But because of the free will, a lot of people basically that were born and they hold their own vibration consented to the fear and lowered the vibration. They did whatever actions then they end up taking, because whatever was projected from the negative was to keep you in that vibration and to lower it, to instinct you, right? Because at the same time, when you go through fear, you're lowering the sequence and you're keeping their resonance, time, space, timeline into the reality that they want to, because they cannot make it. They cannot make the shift. So the consciousness that end up taking and consenting did not have enough time to make that switch because of what they have chosen to do. And because of that, through the higher version of themselves, another version of themselves, the soul is splitting up in different versions of itself and simultaneously having different experiences, okay, in different planets, different locations. The soul decided to exit by maybe dying or doing something, or find himself in a situation to exit the hologram of the planet Earth. Because remember, the shield is out now. Yeah. It's down. So you can go by agreements where you need to go, and that will be with your higher self and your guidance, which I don't know disagreements, okay? That's sacred and all this stuff. But if you decided to do that, what happened, they told me, these people that couldn't make it, but they descended from, the planet Earth, they become etheric legions. Basically, they're gonna stay in a certain reality where they, for example, can help their loved ones to make it, or download information to somebody telepathically, and you're going to have a thought of something, think of something. Oh, why don't you, well, maybe I should go to this store instead that store, but you didn't know if you went this way, something could have happened to you. Yeah. So they told me in consciousness, every single person that is passing away right now and they couldn't make it, they become part of this etheric regions for planet Earth. So they can be helped to hold and help the vibrational sequence to the planet to make it etherically. To keep holding that vibration, because at the same time, these psychopaths, the right to say that, are trying to completely bring the energetic and instinct to everybody. That's the agenda of the globalism. But in a way, you can blame them. Why? Because a lot of them went through MK Ultra. They're being abused. They split up their consciousness through abuse. And they have double, triple personalities. Mm-hmm. And they're literally running a program, and they're doing all this stuff because the compassion is taken away from them. They don't know how to do it. But the only way for them to survive is like a vampires. using us.
Mm.
So here, if you look at from consciousness itself, everybody is running for survival. There's no right or wrong, because if you are born in a family of theirs, you're going to be doing exactly what they're doing.
Mm.
So that's why they told me cannot be a judgment. I'm angry what they're doing. I know what they're doing. I don't like it, but I don't hate.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
a big difference.
Yes.
Because in order for you to transform, you gotta be in neutrality to understand that they're also, quantum structure here, a reflection in another version of you. So how can
Yes.
you possibly hate yourself?
Exactly.
Because if they projected in you, see them in their in your reality, obviously you projected them as another reflection, a version of you as another version.
Yeah, yeah.
So you don't reject, you mutate by creating something better, by your action, thoughts, and deeds. That will bring you to a completely new reality that already pre-existing consciousness itself, in order for you to make ascension. And you're going to create your own individual trajectory of ascension based on your thoughts, emotions, and actions that you're choosing through your free will to take it in a daily basis. What can you do today for humanity? What kind of a warm word, and how much you're going to hold your ground when you say that evil is knocking and is poking you and manipulating you? Are you be able to hold the ground and not to consent to the manipulation, even if you have to lose your job, even if you have to lose your health insurance, but then you're going to hold the ground like a warrior and create the reality you want?
Right. So you're saying that 70% of humanity has already made it, right? So this
70%,
collective
we have the
consciousness.
frequency to make it. We people, we already made it. I'm telling you. You need individually to bring your consciousness for the fact of the realization you made it and behave accordingly to it. Even if you see in the meantime another parallel reality that something is happening, because right now whatever is happening in Israel, it's a hologram. It's not your personal experience.
Oh.
How do you know that, for example, if somebody tells you there's a spaceship above you, do you see it? And yet you're willing to believe what somebody tells you.
Right. Thank you,
It's an
Marina.
illusion.
Wow.
Everything that is happening is illusion, but becomes matter experience because of the sequences that somebody is projecting in us and we're consenting to it. Well, if you see that is war, I understand. Do something compassionate for it, but don't stay every day to keep watching it, because you're going to lower the vibration. Sure. But try to do everything possible in the name of humanity, because you know that they're doing this in the collective to help people to get forward, to move forward.
So what can we do as truthers? Do we tell everybody to ignore it and raise their vibrations and consciousness?
No. First, you gotta wake up, everybody. This is why the video on Rumble, the fall of the cabal and the sequel of the fall of the cabal has to be seen. Dr. Judy Mikowitz has to be seen. I wish she can come to your show so she can tell everybody what's really happened with that potions over there, you know. Because in order for you to find out, okay, how do you know that you're in the light? What do you know what evil is and what good is when you never experience any of it? True. So in order for you to move forward, you have to know what the good is and what the evil is. So you can combine all the structure and mutate the way this want to go. Because in order for you to move somewhere, you have all the spectrums of the light. Sometimes you need a little bit more of the dark spectrum. Sometimes you need a little bit more of the light. It's all fluctuation. It's a game. So you tell people, watch first, wake up through the free will if they wish to. If they wake up, the next step is, now you know what is here. Now detox. So you cleanse your body of all the poison that they put in our body. And in the meantime, study the quantum manifestation, become spiritual. Study the structure that we talk about, quantum manifestation protocols, because it's literally the key. And if you want to listen to somebody else, you're more than welcome. But in the quantum manifestation protocols that I gave to everybody, I'm telling you, is the key of creation. How you literally, it's all particles. You're going to see me in a whiteboard and you're going to see everything, how it's moving, what's happening, how you do exactly one step after the other, because it's not easy. We've been lied to for so long. So
Right.
once they do that, so you detox your body, you learn the quantum manifestation, because when you do, you're going to take new actions now to bring your sequence to the higher vibration. And this is how you're moving forward. And if you're a nice person, even if you're very religious, something is going to happen in your reality because of your heart structure that is a positive sequence will put you in a position for you to move forward.
Mhm.
You don't
Marina,
have to know absolutely everything, but because through synchronicity, something is going to happen for you to move forward.
mhm. If I may, correct me if I'm not in alignment. Is it okay before we start the Q&A, I pass the microphone over to Fres, my co-chair? May I request for the 9 to come through and tell us, our group, what we are doing? Are we moving forward? We do need a little bit of assistance and advice, and also what we're doing, our divine mission, and what's really going to happen. We need a little bit of guidance and tips. Is that all right?
Mm-hmm. Well, harmoniously, the sequences are predominate in the 56 to 67% within your collective consciousness of knowledge. However, individually, you have 70, 80, based on who is projecting what. However, there are 3 people that right now in a body are not doing very well in your collective group. It must be done with cautious because there are sequences in a body that are running on a program in a DNA that is lowering the sequence of their consciousness. Who is Mark?
Mark?
Mark.
We don't have a Mark here.
The last name, Mark, the first Mark.
I'm sure we know who he is.
You do know?
Yes.
Mark, yes,
Okay.
yes. We do have the real name, yes, yes.
All right. Well, he needs to look into his body.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Is he going to be all right in time to come if he looked after his body?
It will need some intervention.
Mhm. Is there anything we can do to help? We love him dearly.
The best thing for your bodies is detox protocols. I'm gonna pull out is the detox protocol, specifically the green juicing. And if you really want to just work, use the protocols and make sure that it's 24 ounces. Then you're gonna see the differences.
24 ounces.
And drink that within half an hour after because you're gonna have 3 glasses, almost 3 glasses of 16 ounces. Of 8 ounces.
Yeah.
And it's important for you to drink it within half an hour, and that will flush you out. That will keep you, little by little. Distilled water, they told me distilled water because people couldn't understand, but distilled water, because there's no charge. What happens is a conductor, and when it gets into the body, anything that is off balance of a lower frequency is combining, especially if it's a chemical component, and it's gonna a synthetic component, and it's gonna take it out.
Okay.
And now a lot of people talking about, can we energize the water? Yes, you can do that, but would you take the same pill for so long?
3 people, you said, in our team's not doing very well.
I cannot get the rest
problems?
of the names. I'm not getting the rest of the names.
It's okay. We think we do know. Is it health? If it's health, we do know.
Yeah, it's health. Yeah, we talk about health.
Are they going to be all right if we observe?
If proper action is taken, yes, it's all probability here. There's also probabilities and predictions video on that. If you change something right now, the probability will change. The action, if changed, the outcome will have a different probability. becomes 100% only when they out of the blue tell me something. But that again is going to be of the collective actions and thoughts and deeds. So it's a very, very actually complex process. If you study the material, you're going to see that it's not easy.
Sure. Thank you. I know exactly what is said here, and we will take action. Thank you so much.
Well, I want to thank you all so much. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you. Is there anything that is left unsaid that is so important for this group to progress and to move on to achieve our divine mission here?
Just make sure from now on to the next 6 months, you hold your ground with everything that you're going to see. We have a victory in the end, but hold your ground, because for some people, maybe a rocky road.
Sorry, for some people, what?
Maybe different, challenging, very challenging.
Okay, sure. For the next 6 months, got it.
Mm-hmm.
This is so much valuable information, and I know exactly what is meant here. I truly appreciate you, Marina, for bringing in this guidance from the Council of Nine.
Well, thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, Henrik, you have your hand up. Quickly say something.
Yeah, but it's a long question. No, it's not a long question. I would like you to talk a little bit about what are we beyond all this game, and what are we really?
What do you mean? What are we as a consciousness?
Yes, and you mentioned that we are creators or something like that, and more.
Well,
what are we really, more than the person I'm sitting here?
You're really a energy.
Yeah.
Energy that actually moves through time, space, and you're created from sound wave energy, and that energy based on location becomes matter, and that energy collapses to singular, like you, and expands to God consciousness itself, energetic field. And when you are in that presence, when you raise and open up your entire consciousness, you're going to realize that God is all in one unit and all at the same time, omnipotent and omnipresent. And you, as a human, of one fraction, when you collapse, it's breathing, goes into God consciousness and collapses. Is like a breathing. When you breathe, it splits up every time, creates another version, but yet is part of God consciousness. So when you really reach that level of expansion, understand that it's all knowing. It knows itself. It knows you. So you, when you collapse down, hold in one unit as of right now, the entire power in God consciousness in one unit. You're that powerful, but you let you to believe that you are unpowerful in somebody's controlling your consciousness, because we allow somebody to do it, and yet look how much power we have.
Right.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Marina. Over to you, the press. You wanted to.
All right. I'm going to try to do this as quickly as possible, because I took lots of notes and drawings. So anyway, the one that we're going to come back to is cognitive dissonance, which is here. And this is trapped in the consciousness of the black goo, where a lot of us are trapped. We have it at that point, we end up with two ideas, and we can't hold those two separate opposing ideas in our mind at the same time. So we have to make a decision. You started with all this fake reality that was being created, that was set aside from consciousness, and this loop, which you've brought in. The one question I was going to ask from our audience was, what about our people who have passed? Well, you've covered that. They get caught in this loop until they are moved into the etheric. Well, then you talked about the divers, you being one of them, or some of the others that have come into this, is this little pink bright light coming in and coming back out to see it. We have a few of the light body people leaving and going into general consciousness. But at the time of our first reality of this, we saw this blackness, this darkness, increasing exponentially. Page 2. So we simplify it. And we've got those that are leaving, those that are diving, and this perceived reality that we're stuck in, but the bigger consciousness is there. So we go to smaller drawings. Same thing, black goo. But what's interesting now is that we've seen that this is not an expanding black goo, but a contracting black goo because of the divers that have come in and those light beings that have left into whole consciousness. It's getting smaller and smaller and smaller. This is setting up a real interesting spot down here where it's starting to condense because the darkness is looking left and looking right, trying to figure out who just broke up their great little world, and they're going to get rid of those problem children, those light beings, and they're kicking them out of their space, they're going smaller and smaller and smaller. Last page.
May I interject here? You're right to a point, but here's where you're missing something. It's an illusion that is getting smaller and smaller because you create in your own reality, when in your reality, these people will have nothing to do with you.
Yeah. Yes. So anyway, we get to this general consciousness, and many of us have seen this event horizon coming up. And it's all these choices, it's a binary choices. But at first, it's just like a whole bunch of them. Well, when we take a look at the light beings that are going through this, which is in now time, which is now time, we just got through it. So hi, we're on the right side now. We've just gone through that now. We're now in the present new reality. We're over here, but you don't realize it. Some of the divers are coming around and going back through this and saying, look it, follow me. And the blackness is leaving and getting smaller. So we have infinitely getting larger on one side, in expanding universe and probabilities, and extremely infinite in the other direction. And those who are choosing in the light are saying, hey, we know where we're going. We just haven't got up with everybody else yet. We're just making our way there. We've left already. So that was quick notes of what I was taking. And I don't know if you want to comment a little bit more on that, but it was
actually,
hey.
I don't think so. I want to comment on that, and I'll tell you why. Because I think you put a key points of some stuff, but between those key points, there's a lot of missing links that people really need to study the material to understand. Because for me, in 1 hour and something, I have to bring up the whole spectrum of all the stuff. But between all the spectrums, there's so many other little things that people need to know. It's going to become confusing. So you have a key points, but there's a lot more information in between, and I don't want anybody to get confused. My suggestion for everybody is to study the quantum manifestation protocols, because all of that is just a little speck of all the information that I just told you.
Oh, I'm a great fan of all your messages, Marina. I'm so grateful. And at first, when it hit me, when you mentioned the name Mark, it didn't sink in, but now it did. And as the head of FESIG family, I truly, truly am in awe. You were so spot on with the 3 not doing too good. And I know who. We both do our level best as this group, the family, to help out. Okay. Thank you so much for letting us know.
Thank you very much, guys, for everything. Thank you. I really appreciate it. And good luck, everybody, with everything.
We respect your time, so we got to let Marina go now. Those of you who's got other questions, I'm afraid we can't carry on.
I will be back together again, maybe just for questions.
Wonderful.
Oh, yes, please.
Yes, please.
Thank you very much,
Welcome
everybody.
Back. Marina, we love you. So many people in the chat saying how much they love you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Have a good time. Bye. Bye. Okay, so there being no other business now, this first session of our 129th FESIG meeting is now adjourned to the second session, where Mike Upstone will be presenting his knowledge to us. Okay, thank you so much, everyone. You can stop recording now. Thank you, Marina. We love you.